Good morning. What is today? Tuesday. So I have been having some very interesting conversations with friends and clients, and it is so interesting how many people are kind of traveling through these ups and downs and the reality of being a business owner and having to still lead when you are not at your best. And so I wanted to chat with you guys a little bit today. Hi, so glad to see you. So I want to chat with you guys a little bit today about how to continue to lead when you are not feeling like leading, how to continue to show up in your business when you simply don't feel like it, or how to battle through and deal with your burnout as a business owner so that you can effectively lead. Because these are, I think, some of the more untalked about things when it comes to being in a higher level of business, especially for my multiple 6 and for my 7-figure business owners. I think that there's this idea that you probably had when you were rising to that level about, okay, once I get to this level, things will be different. Then I can back off, then I can work a little bit less. But what's happening is that you're just continuing to pile on the business because you still have this desire for growing. And my earrings look super weird with this filter. You still have that desire for growth. And so I think that it's very important for us to actually address the reality of continuing to grow your business and continuing to be able to show up in your business when you aren't feeling energetically and like you have the capacity to do so. And this is where I get a little frustrated with all of what's happening in the industry about people talking about how, you have to check in with your energy. And if something's not working, it's you, and that's not the words that are being used, but that's really what it's coming across as. And as somebody who very much believes in us as energetic human beings and also the importance of strategy, I truly, deeply, madly understand the importance of both. I truly hold the belief that yes, in order to build the most successful business, you need to be in the most aligned place. You need to be feeling good about yourself. You need to continue personal development, all of those things. But I think that that's kind of put a certain taste in our mouths as service providers, as business owners, to where now we are telling ourselves the story of, well, if I'm not feeling good energetically, then I'm failing, then my business is going to fail. And I don't think that we need to go to that extreme. I think that we all have the reality of being a business owner, and being a business owner meaning that you have to continue to show up in your business, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of how your launches are going, regardless of what your income's doing, you have to continue to show up. And so you can't expect yourself to be in this beautiful, energetic, dreamland all the time. It's not realistic. And so this is about how do we continue to show up to the best of our ability as we ride those waves that are life. Because that's the thing, is that there's this tunnel vision of okay, in my business, I'm so focused on my business that we already, can so easily get distracted from our reality and from what we started the business for, from the freedom that we want to build. And so I just want you to understand that, number one, it's not realistic for you to always feel 100% energetically aligned and in this beautiful, this beautiful space to where everything's beautiful, everything's perfect, everything's going as it should, regardless of your level of business, regardless of how much your income rises. You will still continue to have waves of emotion, waves of income, waves where people are coming into your business and where they're not. And the first thing that you really have to do to be able to continue to lead when you're not feeling like your business is going or things are going like you want them to is you have to understand that is normal. Like, let's normalize the reality of peaks and valleys. Let's normalize the reality of things not always being up on this mountaintop. I promise you that if you are thinking and holding this idea of once I get to X, then things will be different, the reality is that no, they won't. Things externally might change at that point, but how you are, who you are being will still be the same. And so the first thing to continuing to show up and lead when you're feeling burnout, when you're feeling energetically drained, when you're frustrated with the results that you're getting, is first to center yourself and come back into the reality of like, yes, this is my business, but this is also life, and life is not linear. Results are not linear. Progress is not linear. There is no sort of expectation that you should hold to where you are just going to keep climbing this mountain and that like you just never get to the top. The reality is that you climb one mountain and you get there. One of my clients said this to me yesterday, and it was such a beautiful testimonial when we were chatting in Voxer. She said to me, I feel like that working with you, that we've been able to climb this mountain together. And because of that, now when the next mountain comes, I'll be able to navigate it by myself. And that's the truth. The reality is that there are always going to be peaks and valleys. So the first thing that you have to do to be able to continue to show up and lead effectively and to run your business from where you are is to normalize that it's okay for you to be there. It's okay to be in the gap. It's okay to be in the valley. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to know, hey, I'm in a position right now that I don't want to be in. And instead of trying to resist that, instead of trying to pull away from that, instead of trying to force or create urgency or create more pressure trying to get out of that, normalize that you're there and that it's okay. Because what's happening is I see so many business owners making problems out of things that aren't actually problems, especially when it comes to things like launches or income. Any sort of business owner out there that has made you think that there is a constant growth in income, that there is not ups and downs, is lying. That's normal. That's life. Inside your business, it's going to draw a direct parallel to everything outside of business. Just like your relationships. No relationship is sunshine and roses all the time. So stop having that expectation for your business because you're setting yourself up for an immense amount of pressure that is unrealistic, that you don't have to put on yourself any further. So that's the first piece. That's the first thing that I want you to do, and really just know, like, it's okay for me to be here. It's okay for my income to drop this month. It's okay for this launch not to hit that goal. It's okay, and this is normal. And every single person, despite all the highlight reels that we see on social media, every single person has this struggle, regardless of their level of business. You don't just get to like the 7-figure point and then automatically, because you're there, you sell out everything that you put out. Unrealistic expectation. So instead of searching for that, instead of searching for like, okay, I'm going to climb this mountain, and when I get to the top of this mountain, then everything will maintain and it will stay there. I want you to first normalize peaks and valleys. And then I want you to really think about at the top of that mountain, the thing that you think is going to unlock the key, the secret sauce, whatever you think this may be, instead of thinking like, oh, okay, once X happens, then I'll be able to do Y. What is Y? What is the thing that you think, who do you think that you will be able to be when you reach the top of that mountain? And then how can you become that person now? How can you put yourself in a place energetically to be able to hold that capacity? Because here's the thing. There are many, many people that are promoting a false sense of security, a false sense of maintenance, a false sense of what is actually happening behind the scenes of a business. I will always peel back the curtain for you guys because I have nothing to hide. I am not ashamed of myself or my business, but there's a lot of shame. As a business owner, you feel like you're failing. You feel inadequate. I talked about this on my post yesterday. You feel inadequate if everything that you do isn't amazing, if everything that you put out isn't instantly sold out. And what I'm asking you to do today is just know that's normal. And if you want to continue to show up to the best of your ability, then you can show up, because when you're in that gap, when you're in the place of like, I feel drained, I feel burnout, I feel frustrated, I feel angry, I feel bitter, whatever it is that you're feeling, stop telling yourself the story of, oh my gosh, if I show up and I'm not, energetically in the perfect place, nobody's going to buy from me. Nobody's going to come into my business. Everybody's going to be able to see that. It's one thing to be completely misaligned. It's one thing to show up and promote on social media and to write posts and you not actually feel those things or be experiencing those things or know those things. That is misalignment. That is actually more about your integrity as a human being and you being honest with what's actually happening and what you're capable of. But the reality is that if you are burnt out, if you are feeling like in this gap, if you are in a valley, it is more important for you to continue to show up because people relate to that, because you and I are no different. We are humans and we struggle and we have hard times in our lives and we have hard times in our business. So the next thing after you normalize the peaks and valleys is for you to understand that you are human and that you are not alone, and that struggling is where you will get some of the greatest insights that you will be able to sit in the opposite seat and be able to teach to someone else that needs you. And it's so important for you to just really understand that you being in that gap and you showing up in your vulnerability, you sharing your stories and your struggles, not from the place of feel sorry for me because I'm struggling, but from the place of I'm human and I see you. Despite how much I've grown, I still have growing to do. Because one of the most important things for me as a mentor is to help people understand that there is no hierarchy here, that we are human and we are all here for the same purpose, to be able to create the lives that we love, and to be able to have freedom through the pathway of our business. It is the most important thing for me working with women, for them to truly understand what their potential is. And every time we come back to an old belief, or we are telling ourselves an old story or a new story of why we can't, then we step on our own toes, we cut off our own feet, and we stop ourselves from reaching what is actually available to us. And so I'm asking you today to normalize the waves, normalize the peaks and valleys, but also show up in those peaks and valleys from that place and stop telling yourself that it's not enough. Because that's the new story that's being weaved through marketing, that's being told through marketing, is that like, if you're not energetically in that place, then you're not going to be able to sell. You're not going to have a successful business. And so my question to that is, or what it makes you assume would be that, oh, so that means when I get to a certain level, I no longer will have this struggle. And that's what's being pulled through in a lot of marketing, is that like, I am the answer to your problem, right? Like that's sales, is I have the thing that you need. The reality is that if you don't address the deeper level of, hey, are you ending up in the same valley time and time again? Because that's something that needs to be addressed at the root level. Or are you just a human who has peaks and valleys? Please don't keep telling yourself the story that you can't sell, that you can't grow your business, that you can't scale to a new level because of your energy. If you are burnt out from the way that you are growing and selling and scaling and doing all the things in your business, that is a reason to seek mentorship. That is a reason to seek guidance, not because you aren't enough, but because you have the desire to do something differently. If you want to continue to show up and to lead, then you show up and you lead from where you are, and you tell yourself that where you are is exactly the place that you're supposed to be, instead of telling yourself that it's not enough. Many business owners, you'll see it on social media, they pull back and they hide when they're struggling. Because they're like, I can't let people see me like this because no one will hire me if they think I'm struggling. But what people don't understand is that struggle is what makes you relatable. That struggle is where resonance is built. That struggle is where people can connect with you and say, hey, me too. Because there is no hierarchy here. Regardless of your income level, there is no better than. Every single one of you has a certain skill set and a certain story that is unmatched. You are one of one. And so if you choose to believe and to integrate and follow that story of they are better than me because they make X amount of dollars, or they are better than me because they have X amount of clients, or they are better than me because they've been doing it for X amount of years, if you believe that, then every time you're in a valley, you will shrink yourself back into that. Versus if you choose to believe that what I am traveling through, whether I am on the top of the peak or in the valley, is something that is a lesson that I can teach from. I can always teach from here. I can always find something of value here. I have found that in the waves of my business, the peaks at the very lowest of launches not going the way that I wanted them to, or income levels dropping, those are some of the most profound, inspirational moments that have allowed me to finally come to this place of emotional stability, to where I am no longer, my emotions are no longer dictated by what's happening in my business. And that's what's missing from this industry. And that's what's missing from a lot of CEOs, is that we say that we create this business for freedom, and yet we are trapped by our own emotions, by our own beliefs, and by these new stories that are being told, in that if you are not centered and aligned and fulfilled and checking all these boxes, then you won't be able to build success. You can build success from exactly where you are. You can continue to build success whether you're at the peak or in the valley. But first, it requires you actually believing that you can, and not letting the new marketing of you're missing something, you're not good enough, allow you to feel inadequate. As somebody who came into this industry full of fear and full of shame and full of feeling inadequate, as somebody who actively sits in a room of millionaires, not yet a millionaire, I understand what it feels like when you are like, oh, wow, like they must have something that I don't have. Oh, wow, if they find out this about me, then maybe they won't hire me. And what I've chosen, and what I continue to choose time and time again, is to not buy into that. Is to not let the inadequacy, not let the energy of whatever is happening dictate how I show up for you, because I am so tied to and have so much belief in what I am meant for and what my gifts are, that what everybody else is doing doesn't matter, to me, because I am here to lead you, to guide you into your next level of yourself, to help you to stop being stopped by fear, to stop being stopped by your limiting beliefs, so that you can actually build the business that you want. And I will never, ever pretend that if you hire me, there will never be another valley. Instead, I will invite you into collaboration and co-creation of what can we create from that valley? How can you show up differently from that valley? How can you being in that peak allow you to embody a new level of leadership within yourself and for your business? This is the reality. You have to stop telling yourself that there's a certain level that you get to, that everything is just okay there. And you have to stop telling yourself that it's abnormal to have ups and downs, because it's not true. You are powerful. Each of you is so powerful, and you have a gift that is supposed to be brought into this world in some form. My choice of helping you bring this gift to life is through the pathway of your business. But whatever way that you bring that to life, just know that you're capable. And the way that you continue to show up when you feel energetically drained, when you feel burnout, when you feel misaligned, is to speak your truth. To show up from where you are and trust that you as a human being are powerful enough with the exact message that you have right where you are, that it's going to land exactly as it should. That is the truth. And that is how you continue to build success from both ends. Because success is not just about more money. Success is a feeling. Success is being able to back up and zoom out and look at the reality of your life. Because what is the point in building a bigger business and making 7, multiple 6, whatever figures, if you aren't actually enjoying your life, if you aren't actually emotionally stable in your body, if you are constantly being pulled away from the freedom of actually living and being in deep relationship and being present because you're so overwhelmed with burnout or fear or inadequacy. You can continue to lead. You are good enough to lead from where you are, whether that's a peak or a valley. And that is the most important thing that I wanted to share with you today, is the reminder that everybody has peaks and valleys. The reminder to you to surrender, to ride the waves of the ups and downs, and to cultivate self-trust as a leader, to know that when you stay tied to your service, to your mission, to your impact, that everything will be exactly what it needs to be. Because that's what's meant for you. And it's only when you start telling yourself that what you desire isn't meant for you that things get messy. It's only when you start backing up and hiding yourself because you're not feeling like you can lead that you really need to push and call yourself forward. Being burnout, being energetically drained, it's something that every single person experiences. And every time you experience it, it's an opportunity, it's a call to action to choose something different and to apply whatever you choose to gather the lessons so that you can add that to your chapter book of stories that you can go on and teach the people that are meant to be taught by you. This is your uniqueness, your story, your peaks, your valleys. This is how you teach. And so if you don't show up when you don't feel like it, if you don't show up and tell people and relate to them and give them your truth and share that there is no hierarchy that you struggle to, then you're counting yourself out. Because the story that you're telling yourself is, since I am struggling, I have nothing to offer. You always have something to offer. In the peak, in the valley, wherever you are, you have something to offer. So that's my reminder for you today. Just know that you can show up and you can continue to run your business regardless of how you are feeling. And you can release the story that's being shared in that if you're in a shitty place right now, your business is going to be shitty. Because I'm tired of that story. I'm choosing to release that story. And I'm choosing to gather data and show myself that it's different. You can do this too. You are a powerful enough woman and human being to lead no matter what's going on in your life. So stop telling yourself that you can't. I'm so grateful that I was able to share this message with you guys today. I hope that you found something here that's been helpful to you. If you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments what resonated for you. Feel free to DM me if you want to chat deeper into this. But I just really felt it was important to share this with you today. So thank you for listening. If you're interested in working with me or what that looks like, my DMs are always open to chat through that. And again, thank you for your time today. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys soon.